This is Screendivers. In this week's episode, we are talking about 1985 Code of Silence. This movie is directed by Andrew Davis with a screenplay from Michael Butler, Dennis Shryack, and Mike Gray. Story by Michael Butler and Dennis Shryack. Produced by Raymond Wagner. And starring Chuck Norris, Henry Silva, Burt Ramson, Molly Hagan, and a ton of other character actors. Cinematography by Frank Tidy. Edited by Christopher Holmes and Peter Paraschild. Music by David Michael Frank. This movie has a running time of 100 minutes. It was made for a budget of $7 million and it raked 20 plus million at the box office. How are you, Ricky?
I am wonderful. How are you?
And man, I forgot to say that this movie was distributed by Orion Pictures, which is quite important.
But, it is.
Yes, it is, actually. In preparation for this, I watched the Canon documentary, thinking it was going to be a Canon movie. But it is not, and that's a testament to the quality of this movie.
Yeah, it definitely
yes,
doesn't feel like it was made in 3 weeks, like
No,
a Canon
no.
film.
No, and I want to emphasize, quality, because actually, a little bit of background for our listeners. This movie was selected by Sir David Joshua Smith. He couldn't be with us today. He was meant to be guesting on this episode. Unfortunately, some stuff happened. He couldn't join us. Also, in this episode, our gun resident expert and screen diver, Steve, fucked us. He's not in. He's in Manchester recording the new album. He couldn't join us. But hey, it's just the two of us.
If we try, just the two of us.
Just the two of us. We can make it if we try. Just the two of us. Just the two of us. Building castles in the sky. Just the two of us. You and I
had a friend coming over yesterday on his way. I had a friend coming over yesterday, my friend Viking. Viking is a magician, is a member of the Magic Circle, super talented guy, super awesome guy. He came over, I said, hey man, I'm on my own, come over, we'll play some games. We played a game of one of my favorites at the moment, which I mentioned on the show before, which is the Lord of the Rings Duel, Duel for Middle-earth. Fantastic two-player game. We played that, we had a snack, and then we watched the movie. 45 minutes in, Viking falls asleep. I have a grown man next to me.
No.
Just passed out. But shame on him, man. Because this movie is another love letter to the city of Chicago. I wasn't expecting this at all. I mean, I understand why Sir Dave recommended it. I had a blast with this movie. It doesn't stick the landing. I can tell, we're going to talk about that's why we're here today. But the first and second act fucking surprised me. And the opening as well for a movie from 1985. But we've got a lot to talk about because there are so many connections to other shows. There are so many connections to so much stuff. And just this morning, man, last night because I enjoyed this movie so much, I thought, fuck it, I'm going to watch another movie. Not necessarily a Chuck Norris movie. I ended up watching whatever played because I sourced this movie. I had a copy, and right after that, another movie came on, which was the next file in my drive, and that is Heist from 2001. No connection to this movie. Well, side connections, but and Heist is a movie that is about just that, a heist with Gene Hackman, Danny DeVito, Sam Rockwell, a bunch of other people, and it was endlessly enjoyable. Flawed. There's a lot of you son of a bitch, I'm in the movie. There's a lot of that. there's double crossing after double crossing after double crossing. It's a ridiculous double crossing movie.
You son of a bitch, I'm in.
It's like one after the other. Have you seen it? Heist.
I've seen parts of it, and again, because it came out around the time of the Ocean's 11, Ocean's 12 phenomena, it just felt like another one of those films. And I'm glad you said, "You son of a bitch, I'm in," because
Yeah.
yes, it was. It's "You're a son of a bitch, I'm in." It's called Heist. Come on.
Yeah, it's called Heist. But I don't think I've ever seen a movie with this many red herrings. As in, oh no, they took it. No, he took it. No, he took it. There's a lot of that shit. Oh, she betrayed him, but no, he betrayed him. But no, he betrayed. There's fucking one after the other. It's comical, actually. We should do it on the pod at some point. But because of that, I went on Amazon, and it has nothing to do with my algorithm. So. Or what my Prime account is picking up, because the activity of the past 36 hours had nothing to do with streaming services. I put on a movie this morning that I was glad to see on Prime, and it's a Gene Hackman movie. A big Hackman fan. I had to watch something else, and it's something that I may have seen before, but it's The Package. 1989, Gene Hackman, Tommy Lee Jones, directed by Andrew Davis,
the
director of this movie. I didn't know that. His name came on screen. But that's not all. Because as I'm watching the movie, there's a ton of actors from this movie that 4 years later are still working with Andrew Davis. And then as I was doing research for this movie, I worked out that, I don't know if it was the same year or right after, but Andrew Davis ended up in directing, possibly right after this, ended up in directing Above the Law with Steven Seagal. And there was a cry from a lot of people, including Roger Ebert and a bunch of other people that actually liked this movie. Roger Ebert loved this movie when it came out. He gave it a 3.5 out of 5, which is unusual because it's not. He was never big on Chuck Norris, And I like it. I like the fact that a director would work with the same cast over and over. Like, I think it's a good thing. We get it with big stars. We get it with big directors like, Tim Burton working with Alan Bonham Carter and Johnny Depp or whatever. Like or Christopher Nolan using same actors over and over. I don't mind it. It's not a thing that I mind. I mean, it became a little comical with Tim Burton, but it just the other day I was reading about something with Danny Elfman. Man, what's going on with this guy? Is he under investigation for something?
I haven't heard anything. So is he? Is he?
Yeah.
What for?
I think he did a Russell Brand. Can we call it that from now on? Can we?
Yeah, we can do it. For sure.
I went on YouTube just fucking yesterday, and I hate Piers Morgan. I hate him. He's fucking detestable as a person. I never met him, but I wish never to meet him. But he did an interview with Russell Brand, and Russell. You can go on YouTube for our listeners as well. Go check this now. And in this thing, unless it gets taken down for whatever reason, but Russell Brand is holding a Bible in the interview, and he's looking for the passage that said that is one of his favorite passages from the Bible. He couldn't find it. Because, you got caught going to court holding a Bible.
Yeah.
What a mamalo.
I think you're too caught in the world that you used to be in. And it
Can I go back to asking you a question about your Bible?
Yes, if you want to.
Thank you. Was that the one you took into court?
You're the very one.
Okay. What was your thinking of taking it into court? And what you were seeing, looking at some passages, what were the relevant passages for you?
All right. Thank you for asking me.
Thank you. That didn't hurt, did it?
A little bit. It was this from Isaiah. You're right. Bear did say, be chilled. Sometimes I lose the chill, man. It's pretty... It's this. They don't like that, do they, in the old gallery? But remember, you just said it's a hired spot. This is from Isaiah. Excuse me. Man, I'm not going to mark it before. It says here, The verse that I was looking at that day was not this. I can't actually find the verse that I had that day.
So yeah, I'm just looking up on the whole Danny Elfman thing, and I just remember an artist recently. The artist is called Waterparks, saying that I am so sorry for having Danny Elfman on my music video or in my music, and I just assumed that whatever. But
that's how why I brought him up. I saw the same thing with this guy Waterparks or whatever the fuck.
But it also it's in an appeal process, so nothing has been confirmed. But yeah, we do live in a society where it's better to err on the side of caution, especially with celebrities of a certain caliber.
But that was quick. It's like, oh, we're really sorry we worked with him. It's like, just, okay, mate. Just...
Yeah, I'm sorry I sniffed his hair. Oh, my God.
I would like to apologize for entering the same city that we played.
I did not realize that was his favorite musician.
Oh, my God. Anyway. It's like there's endless sketches. I think Little Britain did a couple as well, but there's a politician going out and apologizing, like in front of the press. I love stuff like that. It's like actually there's one that is all about political correctness going crazy, and it's a sketch that I will put in the comments for our listeners because it's really funny. It's about a police commissioner in Scotland apologizing for saying something racially charged or not politically correct. And as he apologizes, he insults another group. And then that group comes out. And as he apologizes to that group, he insults another group. And then that group comes out. It's like fucking 3-4 minutes. It's a long sketch, and it's all about repetition, but it's really funny. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's fucking hilarious, yeah. Anyway, going back to this movie, Sir Dave recommended this. Yes. I asked him, I said, man, look, it was right on the passing of Chuck Norris. Hence why we are doing a Chuck Norris movie in this episode to pay respects to the man. But I said to him, Dave, you want to come on for an episode? We let you pick the movie. And he picked Code of Silence, and I'm glad he did, because my memory growing up of Chuck Norris is mainly stuff like Delta Force or Missing in Action. And it's stuff that I couldn't possibly bring myself to rewatch now. I may, but maybe Delta Force is better than because of the star power in it. But it's also why these movies were made, because they are canon movies. And watching the canon documentary, it's just, what was his name? Mahoney Golan?
Yes. Because I've watched half of that documentary. I haven't watched.
It's madness.
Got to the end. I got to the point where they were talking about Sylvia. What's her name from Emmanuel?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Her description of she was just drunk all the time.
Yeah.
But
I mean, you can see in the documentary as well. Like people are like, they basically reporting the truth, and then they go, "Oh, but he was all right." Like there's a lot of fucking like it's just malpractice and just Hollywood gone unchecked. Well, but they were they were making like, there's a bit in that documentary when someone says, in Hollywood, other companies like Warner Bros. Or whatever, they had 7-8 projects a year, and Canon Films was making 40-50 pictures a year.
Yeah,
going into that, like they were making movies to pay for the previous movie.
And the great thing about them was that they were like 90% of any money we make back goes straight into the next picture.
Yeah.
And there's that great thing in the documentary where it's like they didn't smooze anyone, they didn't order lunch for anyone, they didn't take them out to restaurants. They would literally pick up like whatever noodles were in the building and then shove them in front of people and say, this is your lunch, now let's get on with the movie.
But the madness as well of how they would make a poster or have like a bullshit concept for a movie, sell that, and then make the movie. Sanity.
Yeah, no scripts.
Dude, yeah. I would have loved to. And how he would come, like he would come up with the entire movie during the pitch. It's insane. It is insane but it's also cool. It would have been cool. It would have been cool to be a fly on the wall there, man. It would have been hilarious. You know the entire bit where they describe. Did you watch the bit with the orangutan?
Yes,
Which is
yes, and yes, and the orangutan bit the child, or had or didn't like the child at all, and so they completely had to get rid of it.
They put a little person in the suit. We need to do that one. What's it called, that movie?
Oh, it's not Monkey Business, is it?
Mate,
is it called Monkey Business?
I
or
don't know.
Going Bananas?
But yeah,
Going Bananas sounds like that.
I don't know. But it's a disaster. And that was the same orangutan from the movie with Clint Eastwood. Every Which Way But Loose.
Loose,
I think.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Mm-hmm.
Did you just do it, Steve? You just repeated
it.
Yeah,
I miss him, so I thought I'd finish your sentence off just really quickly. Loose.
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 But in regards to canon, this is Orion and this quality here. Do you remember, just out of curiosity, because it is Orion Pictures, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember a little picture that came out in 1987 called RoboCop?
Oh, really?
Was RoboCop an Orion Pictures movie?
I feel like it was, but I'm trying. But the symbol is very
the OCP symbol. Yeah.
The OCP symbol
canon.
is very close.
Canon, yeah. I wonder if they were taking the piss. Actually,
Mm.
I wonder.
I hope so.
But check if it was Orion. I'm pretty sure it was Orion Pictures. And if it was Orion Pictures, now I understand. There's a lot of, the robot in this movie, the Prowler, and we're going to talk about the Prowler. It's like it's a blueprint for, Johnny.
At 209.
Yeah, at 209, Johnny. It's the robot of that era, like the mid-'80s. There's a lot of, if you look at shows like Riptide or whatever, fucking Rocky had a robot friend.
Yeah, I think it was Rocky 4.
It was Rocky 4, dude.
Yeah.
It was Rocky 4.
I love Rocky 4.
Yeah. I love Rocky 4. We're going to have to do it.
Yeah.
But this period, right? Like, there's a lot of stuff in this movie that actually shouldn't work, and it fucking does, which is crazy to me. A quintessential question must be asked. Ricky, what is this movie about?
Chicago is known for many things. It's known for its streets, it's known for its river, but it's mostly known for its crime. Welcome to the world of the Chicago cop that we will now be following, called Eddie Cusack. Eddie Cusack is a by-the-numbers sort of cop in the middle of a drug war. That's right, a drug war that he had no idea was coming. He was ready to bust one gang, and another gang comes along and takes all the coke and all the money. Now, it's a race against time to find this one guy, all the coke, to stop another gang war, taking out everybody.
That's this movie in a nutshell, and it's also topical because it is 1985, and we are in the heart of the war against drugs. It's Ronald Reagan,
Yes.
and Nancy, mate. We're gonna link it in the comments, but I took a screenshot. It is about a campaign that Mr. Chuck Norris was in the midst of it right after releasing this movie, called No Hope in Dope. Yes, and there's a little TV spot. We're going to link it in the comments. It wasn't just Mr. Chuck Norris. It was Mr. T. This is the period in which we had ads like, this is your brain on drugs.
This is drugs. This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
So yes, but we're not just talking about, weed. This movie is about, the end of cocaine cowboys, the cocaine craze. Hence why, they there's conflict between the new guard and the old guard, like the mafia that ruled cities like Chicago, New York, or, didn't really make it in Boston, as discussed in one of our episodes with Mr. Nick Marv. During the Friends of Eddie Coyle, we talked about that, how the mafia didn't, manage to get a foothold in a city like Boston. But, man, there's something about this movie, like I said earlier, this movie shouldn't work. This movie should have been a run-of-the-mill fucking piece of shit, and it isn't. I was pleasantly surprised. Like, the first and second act of this movie were a pleasure to watch. First of all, somehow, because of some of the plot threads in this movie, we got three major ones, right? We have the bust that goes wrong. That causes a gang war, right? Then we have the damsel in distress, right? And then we also have the plot line of the corrupt, police department in Chicago. Now, I said at the beginning that there is a lot to talk about, and there is a lot to talk about, but I mentioned that there are threads to some of my most beloved TV shows, and we should start with Frasier. Because the man
you're talking about,
the man who represents basically the OCP, whatever the fuck, because it is pre-RoboCop, dude. RoboCop is 1987, and we get somebody. This could have been in the same universe, right? I mean, RoboCop is in Detroit, this is in Chicago, but we get, let's say, the OCP company man going to the Chicago Police Department trying to sell the Prowler. And who is selling us the Prowler? Marty, Dr. Frasier Crane's dad. Now, this is not the only connection to Frasier, because we have a character actor called Ron Dean, who plays one of Marty in Frasier. If you haven't seen Frasier, that's on you. But Marty is a retired cop, right?
Yep.
And in the show, he hangs out every once in a while. Marty hangs out with some of his retired buddies from the police force, and one of those people is a cop called Frank, who's a retired detective as well. He appears in, I think it's 3 episodes of Frasier, but he's quite notable whenever he appears, and he has lines in the show as well. His name is Ron Dean. He plays Brennan in this. He gets some lines in this as well, and there's some pivotal sequences as well, because the third act wouldn't happen the way it happens in this movie with that type of showdown, unless in the plot we would have had a reason for, to have Chuck going at it alone with his trusty robot.
Yeah.
Because, that's worth the call, right?
It's the whole robot thing. I actually was getting ready for it not to come back, but of course it was going to come back. It's the biggest.
Why the fuck is it there? Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But the way it gets presented is actually quite off the cuff, and the scene is almost completely. It's not really there. There's not really much of a scene there when it gets presented. Even to a point where when Chuck Norris stands behind somebody and points a gun either at the machine or at John Mahoney.
Yeah.
I didn't get what the robot was doing, because the robot then started doing a countdown and saying it's going to blow the whole place up. But why? Because it wasn't aiming at Chuck at all. It was just aiming at the crowd. Yeah.
True, but the robot is remote controlled. It's a drone. So there's no foreshadowing, no AI here or anything. But it does show that, you're right, actually. What point is this making? Because I thought, okay, this is saying that this responsibility behind, law enforcement and the human behind the gun would always be, that's RoboCop, right? Yeah. But in this one, this is a drone. It's purely remote controlled, and the gun is being pointed at John Mahoney.
Well, it does have some sort of automated service, as is exploited at the end of this film, because he's not holding the remote as he's going through the warehouse. So there is some sort of automated service there.
True, but I think he keys in something. He still keys in something because he needs that control, like the remote. Which, by the way, it's a fucking huge. What is it? It looks like a Nintendo.
It looks worse than it looks more like the. It's closer to an RPG but a handheld RPG. But then he has an RPG in the same scene of him holding the thing. So it's
a bazooka. It's not an RPG. It's a fucking bazooka.
There we go. It's a bazooka.
It's a bazooka.
It's a bazooka. Thank you, Steve.
Shit, mate. Anyway, he would have gone, no, it's a fucking N303. It was used in the Korean War. Like, whatever. It's green. It's a bazooka and it's green, Steve. Anyway, there's several movies in which Chuck kills the bad guy with a bazooka, and I'm surprised that it doesn't. And also, what the fuck, mate? There's a couple things, and we needed Steve here, but he takes down Henry Silva. He shoots him twice, right? Let's jump to the third act here, because it's super anti-club. We're not spoiling anything, okay? No. But he takes down the bad guy, shooting a gun that would have enough recoil to break your fucking wrist, hits the target from a massive distance, right? By the way, this movie, at times, it's shot beautifully. At times. And then there are other times in which the editing fucks it. There's beats where the set pieces are great, and I wonder if it needed that at all. Some of the car chase sequences are sped up. Have you noticed?
Yeah.
Why? I thought that would have been enough, man. It would have been enough. There's enough. Fucking the explosions are great in this movie. There's some of the pacing is great.
But I've got a feeling. Do you think? Because for example, there's a scene later on, and again, we're talking about the third act. There's a scene later on where they have to have a flashback or a scene change to the police station, where they're all having a conversation of who's going to help out Chuck, and. They're having their conversation. Then they jump back to Chuck Norris's scenes, and then they jump back to the police station again, which makes me think that some of the filming didn't work out, or there was some sort of editing pieces that didn't quite fit. So they were trying to like shuffle the film around so you wouldn't notice like something that didn't work.
Maybe. I don't know about rewrites, dude. Worth noting, and this is, us scouring through factoids online, but it's notoriously well known that this movie was meant to be a Clint Eastwood picture. This was meant to be an installment on the Harry Callaghan saga. Apparently, he turned it down. I mean, the script alone for this movie sold for $800,000, dude. That's a lot of fucking money. And I gotta say, this is a springboard for a director that is extremely competent. This movie would not have worked without him, to be honest. Like I said, at times this movie looks beautiful, and it's a shame that perhaps the person behind the camera wasn't as competent as its director, because there's a couple of shots. There's one in particular where I think it's right after the chase sequence in the underpass. The car derails, whatever, and then we get our lone hero basically. It's a payphone. It's a payphone sequence. Which,
so you love it. You love it already.
Love it. Yeah, any payphone action, it's great. But it's the way the camera moves, and it's for a second I thought, oh shit, we're entering Michael Mann's territory, and it's a shame. And I should get Michael's name out of my. Get Michael Mann's name out of your mouth. But no, there are moments, and maybe because it's Chicago, the Blues Brothers, Thief, another movie that did Chicago right. What can you think of?
Well, Candyman.
There you go. And there's Andrew Davis is Chicago born and bred, and that's why this movie works. Now, it's a shame that we did not get enough of her, because she actually stands out, and that is Miss Molly Hagan. This was apparently a debut in the big screen. I think she made a TV movie before this. I think she's also from Chicago. She studied drama in Chicago. She's a brilliant actor. She really is. And to the point in which when she came on screen, I kept thinking, I know her from somewhere. And if you look at the list of credits, it's never ending. She's been in 10,000 things. But going back to Mr. Andrew Davis, dude, this guy went on to do big things, man. Like we mentioned The Package or whatever, but he's the director of The Fugitive, I think. And that's, that's a fucking classic. But he did a lot. And it's competent. The movie's competent. Besides that, I don't know why that payphone sequence. I'll see if I can isolate and send it to you, if I can find it somewhere, because it's just a phone call, but it's just the lighting is right, and I think it captures at times the very thing that possibly worked against someone like Chuck Norris throughout his career. Is one thing that is going for him is quite stoic as a character. He plays stoicism better than anybody else, but the problem is that stoicism can come across as wooden.
Yeah.
You know, in this movie, it works. There are moments in which he emotes the way a man of that era, a man that, you know, spent most of his life bottling down his feelings.
Yeah. I mean, I personally, I'm on the opposite view for this film, which is I wish it wasn't Chuck Norris. I wish it was somebody slightly more charismatic. There are certain scenes, especially towards the third act, where he's getting beaten upon and he has some amazing one-liners, but they just kind of, for me anyway, it kind of just misses a beat. And I think the beat is that if you imagine somebody like Kurt Russell saying those lines, or again, if it was Clint Eastwood, it's one of those bits where the script definitely felt like it was a vehicle for someone else. And when you look at things on the internet, there's a whole list of names that could have possibly been in this film. And as much as Chuck Norris is known for his ass kicking and his very stoic nature, there are certain points in this film where I was just a little bit, I hate to say it, a little bit bored with his delivery. That's my personal view. Yeah.
I get it. However, the script is very tight. I think the thing that fucked the script, because I'm beginning to think that actually this Prowler, the robot in it, was there from the beginning. Because I'm pretty sure that Clint read the script and went, there's a robot in this? Fuck this.
Nope.
The Prowler? Really? The Prowler? And isn't the Prowler, I think, one of the, I know, Scorpio. I can't remember if in one of the Callahan movies there was already like was the nickname for somebody. But actually, wasn't there like a serial killer or something called the Prowler?
Yeah. And then it's also in modern superhero mythology, the Prowler is Miles Morales' uncle. Who?
Oh well, there you go.
Yeah.
Now, other things as well. Like we're gonna touch back on some of the stuff that we touched on now, but there's a couple of things. We recently did a movie called The Friends of Eddie Coyle. There was a reference to a crime family with the same surname called Scalise.
Yeah. And
I thought it can be a coincidence, you know. Like, and I'm not familiar with the hierarchy structure. Being Italian doesn't grant me special knowledge of mafia files, but apparently this is like a pretty big thing. Now, Scalise, the Scalise family, was a first-generation migrant family from Sicily, and they were the originating branch of what then became the Gambino family.
Right.
So I think it was embedded by the 80s. It was embedded in American culture. It's something that resonated with people. And in fact, whenever we talk about someone associated with the mob, this is a very strong parallel to what happened with the Friends of Eddie Coyle, you know, because it's the same thing. It's not technically about the mob. And even here, the mob gets involved, but indirectly. This movie is about, what is the name of the actor Mike Genovese? Yeah. Actor Mike Genovese playing Tony Crazy Tony Luna.
Yep.
And he's the one that basically, without mob approval, decides to pull a bank job. And guess what? If you remember, that's pretty much what happens in The Friends of Eddie Coyle.
Yeah.
It's, you know, someone that has a connection to the Scalise family pulling a bank job without, you know, mob approval. Apparently the mob does not like if you do that.
Well, yeah, and this is also dragging in the Colombians, Comancho, Luis Comancho, and his direct links to Colombian cocaine.
Played masterfully by Mr. Henry Silva, who's got a hell of a face on him, and we just don't get enough of him.
Nope.
We just don't. And it's a shame. And I need to understand why. Because obviously the people that were directly, it's the same thing, right? Tony Crazy Luna pulls this without telling anybody. And I think the drug exchange as well, it was kind of a side thing, right? Yeah. So the cartel gets involved directly, the mafia gets involved directly, and they start the so-called gang war.
Do you want to hear what my opinion is? Because also the fact that Dennis Farina is in this and barely gets any time as well.
Yeah, but then it would have turned into a buddy cop movie, right?
Now, this is what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
This is what I'm thinking, because even with the fact that is it Mike? Sorry, who played Crazy Tony? Was it Mike Genovese?
Mike Genovese.
Yep, there we go. Mike Genovese. The thing about all of that is that every time these character actors came on, the screen almost felt like it lit up.
Mm.
Do you think that Chuck Norris had a little bit of a hand in the editing in terms of going like, nope, I should be on the screen like, at least 20% more than every other actor, even though that guy's completely eating the scenery there. That guy, it lights up the screen.
You know what? I like to think, no, I don't think Chuck had a massive ego. I think what you see on screen, that's why, because it's not a great actor, right? What I do think Chuck reveled in is the martial arts that is not necessary for this movie at all.
It's great though.
There are sequences in which the action is unnecessary. It's not even that you think, is it believable or not? It's just the entire sequence in the bar in which one by one, are you kidding me? I mean, the jump, what happened? That should have happened immediately.
Well, that's the thing. The thing that I really liked about that scene, because I was getting myself ready for a Bruce Lee or a Jackie Chan sort of like one person's in. But what I really liked about that was the guy who picks up the cue ball and like knocks him out just so they can grab him. And then it even showed, like, even being held down, he still had a bit of fight in him and he could still do stuff. So,
but it took a while. Before that, we got a taste of fucking one by one. What is this? But I do like when he comes out, like, he points the gun and he goes, who's going to be next? That's a very, very Clint Eastwood sequence.
Yeah.
That was written for Clint. So is it going to be you? Is it going to be you? Like, that's Clint.
Even though, we keep jumping to the end. Even the cannon scene at the end, which should have like blown his hand off, how he was holding the gun. Oh, all the guns he was holding should have blown his hand off. Yeah. But even the cannon scene at the end, where he finally gets the antagonist right at the end, is such a Clint Eastwood moment. It's such a Dirty Harry moment.
It is, because we're used to seeing. Do they like that gun needs to be fired with two hands and ear protection? You could death just by the sound of that. Imagine shooting that in a warehouse. Imagine shooting that gun in a warehouse. The robot would have gone deaf. Oh, not compute. Fucking,
it would freak out and start blowing. And that's another. And again,
stop blowing. What are you doing to this movie, mate? Is it a sex robot now? Is it a fucktoid? You've turned the Prowler into a fucktoid.
And also, jumping around with the storyline, the fact that the robot goes Ed 209 crazy at the start and almost starts shooting everybody, right, makes me go, why didn't Eddie Cusack come under the firing line? Because he's holding like he's pulling guns out of nowhere and picking up guns and all that stuff. At what point does the robot like recognize that you are part of the police? You are not one of the members of. And it even says at the end, this demonstration is over. And you're like, so he could have got shot. He could have got blown up. Like what?
Yeah. But there's also like at least guns run out of bullets in this movie.
Yeah,
they do. At least that's a thing that happens. And also, I'm wondering if at any point they were tempted. Because, okay, so it's the mafia going against the cartel. Because that's the war on drugs focus, right? But what if it was the mafia going against the triads?
Oh.
Then you would have had, it would have justified like a martial arts showdown later on, but it would have taken the focus of the movie elsewhere. So there is a bit of an identity crisis here, because I mean, I gotta say, dude, I said it earlier. The first 15 minutes of this movie really surprised me.
Yeah.
And I didn't think it was gonna work. And also there's some quirks they gave to our character that you're right. I wish that Chuck's agent would have pushed Chuck towards taking roles like this. It would have become like a much more of a thinking man action hero, and it didn't go that way. You know, like well, look, he reached gold status. We don't even know how the fuck this happened with him. I mean, he was, you know, a karate champion, and he's ultra American in the way he looked as well. And he found a place in history when it comes down to filmmaking in general. As an actor, he became an icon, you know, and that's why we're here talking about him today. But this movie as well, dude, it's like I said, there are down a dozen movies like this from the 80s, and somehow the first 15 minutes here, like you said, you would have pictured another actor here. If you take all of the fucking action out of it, which there isn't much actually for what it is, I would have placed Gene Hackman in this. It would have been. It plays the Guardian perfectly, and Andrew Davis. And I'm wondering if Hackman was up for this role at some point. Not surprised at all.
What you are talking about in terms of him being a lawman or him being a stoic figure, and especially a martial law figure. I mean, that's what Walker Texas Ranger is all about, isn't it? That's his perfect vehicle, because it is that whole very crime driven, very detective focused. And there's a reason why there's 196 episodes and it ranged for so long.
In the eyes of a ranger, the unsuspecting stranger had better know the truth of wrong from right. 'Cause the eyes of the ranger are upon you. Any wrong you do, he's gonna see. When you're in Texas, look behind you. 'Cause that's where the ranger's gonna be.
Yeah, no, definitely. I remember him as that type of lawman. I remember him as a martial artist because, you know, him facing with Bruce Lee, that's immortal. Yeah. But also, it's a shame that these two things don't gel. That it's just culturally speaking, it's a weird mix. It's like Tex-Mex. You understand? Yeah. That's a good analogy. I think it's like there's two flavors that it's a type of fusion that it's been made fun of in the latest season of King of the Hill, where Bobby opens a restaurant called Shabara Ron or whatever it's called. You know, like he does like this fusion between traditional Japanese food and it's a weird, and anybody else wouldn't have been able to achieve anything in this field that doesn't exist, and yet he stood out. So all the accolades that he has received throughout the years are well-founded. We talked about Dennis Farina. I was curious first of all, I always liked him, right? But somehow he feels like someone who stands out, doesn't steal the show, but stands out in everything he does, right? I think, just like this movie, it seems to me that this movie is a testament to write what you know, right?
Yep.
So Andrew Davis, born and bred in Chicago, he did right by the city. The city's shot, the entire sequence on the train as well. Are you fucking kidding me, dude? That's great. By modern standards, you try and shoot something like that, forget it. It would all be done on green screen. That is a thing that happened in the city. Like it's incredible, and it shows,
including the dive off the train. It's all practical.
Absolutely. The way that guy gets dispatched, it's so unceremonious. Dude, getting arrested would have been better than just fucking. Did you see the face of the guy? As he gets dispatched by a boat, but in regards to write what you know. And Dennis Farina in this movie, he has three different business ideas, because it's like they're dreaming of retirement, and it's the type of conversation that you would have in a body cop movie, right? But somehow it's a shame because it works. It's funny. Everything that comes out of Dennis Farina's mouth is funny without a punchline. There is one sequence in this movie that I fucking struggle to understand why it's there. And it features character actor. The moment you see his face, you know, and I invite you and I invite our listeners to open a tab or go on your phone while you're listening to whatever streaming platform you use. If you listen to us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or Amazon Music, whatever it may be, open another tab on the supercomputer that is sitting in your pocket and now it's in your hand, and look for an actor called Dennis Cockrum.
Dennis Cockrum. Yes.
The moment you see his face,
yes.
I remember him because he played the abusive father of the character that turns out to be gay in the American Shameless.
Mhm.
He's the bully. He's the kid that bullies Dominic Monaghan or whatever his name is.
Yep.
Is it the guy that plays the Joker in Gotham?
Cameron.
What's his name?
Cameron
Cameron Monaghan? No?
Yeah.
What's his name?
Yeah,
What's his name?
Yeah, I think it's Cameron Monaghan. I think
Dominic
you're right.
Monaghan is the Irish actor, I think. So
Yeah,
it's not.
yeah.
It's another
Yeah,
ginger.
it's Cameron Monaghan. As
Cameron
in,
Monaghan.
The guy in Star Wars.
Yeah, that dude. He
Survival.
plays Jerome
Fallen
in
Order.
Gotham, whatever, and
Yeah.
he plays the gay brother of the Shameless family in the Shameless US version, and this guy plays the abusive father of the guy that bullies him that turns out to be gay, and starts dating him. Look at his face. You've seen him in 1,000 things. You see Dennis Cockrum?
Yeah.
You recognize him? Yeah. The
No,
sequence in
I've
question.
done this deep dive. Yeah, anyway.
There you go. It's funny. It's funny because the juxtaposition is a joke, as in two hoods walk into a bar and the bar is full of cops. And it's fucking funny. The way they handle the entire thing is funny. But I rewatched it. There's absolutely zero reason why the sequence is in there.
Nope.
Is it for comedic relief? Is it there because
I feel like
there's nothing that happens. But basically, the way our protagonist ties into this sequence is because he receives a phone call from another actor that keeps featuring in Andrew Davis films. And I'm saying this because 40 years later, he's in the package. The movie that I was watching is just walking by. He doesn't even have a couple of lines in the package. And he's one of the central characters of this movie. And we didn't discuss a thread at all. We're going to touch now. And that is police corruption, right? He's the other cop that, has the same attitude as, our protagonist, which, by the way, our protagonist is called Eddie Cusack. Sergeant Cusack, yeah. And the character in question is Detective Copales, played by Joe Gazaldo. He's the young rookie cop who's paired with, the veteran Irish cop. My father and my dad was a cop, and my dad was a cop, and my dad was a cop, kind of thing.
That was played by Ralph Foodie.
Yes, it was.
Yes.
Well, as well, he's a scumbag. Like, you just get to say, I could smell the guy through the screen. I don't know why.
Craigie. It was funny because I didn't see this fact. And I'm telling you this for real because I turned around to Sally when I was like, I know that voice, I know that voice, I know that voice, and I kept playing in my head, I know that voice, and then I suddenly stopped and I said, Home Alone. He's the gangster in Home Alone
He's a gangster, not the cop. He's a gangster.
He's the rental video gangster, the one who's like, I'm going to count to 10.
Yeah, the black and white movie,
yellow,
right?
Yeah, that's him. Ugly, yellow, no good keister off my property. 1, 2, 10.
Hey, I tell you what I'm going to give you, snakes. I'm going to give you to the count of 10 to get your ugly, yellow, no-good keister off my property before I pump your guts full of lead.
All right, Johnny, I'm sorry. I'm going.
1, 2, 10.
Yeah, so that's so he's a very distinct voice. There, and when you hear him, your brain will do the same thing mine did, which is, what's he in? What's he in? I've heard that voice before. What's he in? And he's been in lots of films. He's been in Blues Brothers, because of course Chicago. The Package, you mentioned that.
Yeah.
Raw Deal.
Is Raw Deal Andrew Davis as well? Probably not.
That's a good question.
It must have been another Orion picture movie.
It must
maybe.
be.
I don't know.
It must be because it's like Arnie, during his heyday. So
Yeah.
no, it's John.
And Orion was on fire, dude.
Yeah.
Orion Pictures was on fire. That's my childhood. Much more than Canon, I think.
Yeah.
Much more than Canon. They did.
So-
they made quality, but they had stars.
Yeah.
They had big stars, man.
Yeah.
Is there a
but yeah,
documentary about Orion?
I feel like
Oh,
there is.
There
I
should
feel
be.
like
Well, there's the Last Action Hero or whatever. It's great. I think it's a 2-part documentary on Shutter or something, and I think it's called The Last Action Hero.
Oh my god! I
What?
typed in Orion documentary, and I probably shouldn't have, but now I want to watch this. Orion, the man who would be king, and it's somebody who looks a little bit like Elvis, and he wore a mask, so he was like the fake Elvis. The story
But
tells
this has nothing to do with Orion Pictures.
no, it has nothing to do with Orion Pictures. But now this is a documentary I want to watch. Orion tells the story of Jimmy Ellis, an unknown singer plucked from obscurity and thrust into the spotlight as part of a crazy scheme that had him masquerade as Elvis.
Oh my god! Okay. Now, the documentary in question is fantastic, or at least I really enjoyed it, and it's called In Search of the Last Action Heroes, a comprehensive retrospective of the 80s and 90s action film genre. It was endlessly entertaining for me to watch. It's obviously, talking heads kind of deal, but I think it's on Shutter. Again, for our listeners, if you haven't seen it, In Search of the Last Action Heroes. It's entertaining. I mean, the Cannon Field documentary is good, but I actually prefer this one. I don't know why. It resonated more with me, Like there's I think that Cannon documentary it's good, but it started leaving a bad taste in my mouth. There's nothing, it was nothing that I could celebrate. It seemed to me that it is about 80s exploitation. That when you think of exploitation, you think about the 70s, but I think Cannon was doing some bad, crazy shit, and it became a blueprint that kept pushing the agenda of, the masquerade of Hollywood and the dirtiness of Hollywood. There's nothing glamorous about that, man. These people were fucking cowboys.
They were cowboys, and they were meant to be anti-Hollywood, but they were doing very Hollywood things. They were doing massive Hollywood things. There's also an issue with that documentary, which is it is edited so, entertainment news.
Yeah, it is
quick
sensationalistic
chunks.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. It is. The way some people were treated and the way they decided to take part in it later, it just felt weird. Someone like Bo Derek, I can't believe that they got her to talk about that period of her career. It's not just her. Like there's a lot. Like the way they talk about Sharon Stone in that documentary is fucking horrific. I don't give a shit about how difficult she was to work with. she's a person, and it was just difficult. And also, that's the one that really left a mark is Michael Dudikoff.
Yeah,
it's have you seen that bit?
Yeah,
when he kind of he said, and we all know what happened. It's been self-referential to his career, and it's heartbreaking because it's true. It should have been fucking massive. Massive. And that's not just mismanagement of somebody's career. That's manipulation. That's proper manipulation. These people were too, like if there was a government body that was controlling any of these practices, which, it's a shame that now we've gone the other way. There's a bunch of shit you just can't do, and it's not about the treatment of actors, but it's just this, the health and safety craze that actually is detrimental to Hollywood. It should be a high risk, high reward kind of business. And it seems to me that now we're going towards doing everything fake because it's safer, and it fucking shows on screen.
Yeah.
Sorry, but that's why when you get one person that does something the way it used to be done, like Tom Cruise, oh my God, he's saving cinema. It's like, no, this is the way things were done before. But now he stands out because he's the last person doing it. It's
like Alec Baldwin.
And on that note, this was Umba. Did you see clips of him arguing with his wife?
Yes.
Do you know about his wife, right? Do you know that she's born and bred in America, and she insists in putting on this fucking
that stupid accent? Yeah.
She spent one summer in Spain or whatever as an exchange student. She came back with this, but there's a bit when he asks her to talk slower.
What I used to do is I would say yes, and then I would do whatever I wanted, and I would just keep it from you.
You gaslight me.
No.
After my first marriage, I said, let's have a prenup.
I want
She
to
wasn't
think
happy
about
about it.
No. First of all, I still
it's an
don't
awkward
understand
thing.
quite what it is awkward, but I don't actually quite understand what a prenup is, because you're like, after a certain number of kids, it's this, and I was like, you know what? I'll just sign it, which was probably very stupid of me back then. Now I would read it again, but like, I just said I will sign it. I don't really want to think about the end by the beginning, and then you're like, yeah, I don't want to do it either.
Let's talk slower. You're speaking English in a Spanish cadence, which is always perilous for me. Slow down just a kiss. I can't understand you.
Anyway, I don't know where to go now. You fucking ruined everything. I don't know where to go now. It's just like you hit a reset button, dude. My brain feels a little rusty. Well. Now, going back to this movie, I don't look. I think we're getting close to
we are. And I just want to say one thing, which is
territory. Sorry.
Yeah, the one thing I want to say is that the bits that I really found interesting in this movie kind of got pushed to the side very quickly, or they would reappear and disappear pretty quick. And then it was used to kind of sew up the ending of how everything goes together, which is the police corruption story. The police corruption story is actually quite risque for 1985. It's an obvious point where an old detective who has done something that can get him fired very quickly mishandles, but then has the rest of the cop and the rest of the squad backing him up, apart from two people. And those two people then don't really talk about it, don't really talk about what actually happened that day until a drunken conversation. And then during the drunken conversation, morality is spoken about. And then in the following scene, morality is spat on in the face of. And it's crazy. It's like such a good couple of scenes and such a good storyline. And it kind of gets used to sew everything up at the end. But it also means that's how Chuck Norris's character ends up with no support at the end. So it kind of builds up to why he turns into a one-man army.
Again, the script is solid. Even within the fucking robot, dude. It's solid. It's solid because it justifies the robot.
Yeah.
Because he
totally.
basically goes it alone, right?
Yeah,
but his
Johnny
robot.
Five is alive. We get it, yeah.
Did you just do an Indian accent?
Yeah.
Well, I can't. Well, but but I can.
It is a Jewish actor pretending to be Indian.
Yeah, I know.
So kind of you are allowed, I think. But
it's a dude that plays another dude. This guy's another dude.
Johnny Five is alive. Yes, I know.
Oh my God.
Number 5 is alive.
Right. I actually sent a text out while you were talking earlier to Sir David Joshua Smith, who couldn't be with us today. So I have his score here. I'm waiting for our gun expert to send us his score as well. You want to hit him with a message as well? Because he's not fucking replying.
Is that even allowed? Because they're not here to do the brunt work. I mean,
doesn't matter. But what is this brunt work? Don't you wish you had your own robot?
I do. Do you want me to drop Alec Baldwin's name again?
What would I call my robot, dude? My robot would be called Pomarola 2000. It's the Pomarola 2000.
I'll just take Ed 507 or something.
Okay. I would struggle to rate another movie of this kind from that year as high. And also, we were talking about the woodiness of Chuck Norris, who he managed to extract a career out of. You know, that's stoicism. Anybody else is just wooden. There's a couple of bits here that in cinema don't normally translate well, but they do in the real world. Because I pay attention to this stuff. When I like to think of myself as an empath. And it's a double-edged sword. Like if anything, I'm too sensitive to the way people react, but I do look at their face. I study their face when I talk to people in general. And sometimes that's not like that. Sometimes you see too much, like as in you're seeing too much into somebody's reaction. And it's not an easy way to live, I can tell you that. So I'm trying to get rid of that personality trait. I don't find any virtue in it. But you attune to certain things, and there's a thing that is done in this movie that surprised me, but it's something that I read whenever I talk to people, if it does happen, and I tend to do it myself. There is a moment in which he's Eddie Cusack, our protagonist, is talking to the police chief, right, or the police commissioner. They're in the office, and it's in the first act, and he comes in, and it would be like, this is an instance in which the police commissioner was a cartoon character, because until Eddie Cusack walks into the office, he's fucking shouting at everybody. He's the shouting commissioner, right? And as soon as Eddie Cusack comes in, you can see it doesn't happen it happens gradually, as in he's placating. It's a fuck up, and he's at the head of the fuck up, right? But it's his presence is placating the commissioner. It's like the calming presence of Chuck Norris. He should have done like one of those 45 minutes meditation tapes with Chuck, meditate with Chuck. As the commissioner is telling him, he's not shouting anymore, he's telling him how he fucked this up and that it's a shame that this got fucked up because he worked on it for months. If you look at Chuck's response to this, it's non-verbal. He's clenching his jaw. And you can see the jaw clench. You know when someone's telling you something you don't like and you're kind of, and you do that flex with your jaw, as in you're literally holding your tongue. He does it in this, and you can see him do it through his beard, because he's got a beard, right? So you can see that, and it's not effective. It's not an effective way to emote in this medium, and you don't see it often in cinema. When was the last time you can think of a performance where you see someone doing that with their jaw?
I mean,
it's very pronounced here, dude. I'll invite our listeners to revisit this and watch it.
But not to rain on your parade. 1985 was a very good year for film. Even if you're looking at, so for example, After Hours was released. But if you want to talk action,
it's not the same movie.
If you want to talk action films, like Day of the Dead was released, Year of the Dragon was released,
But they're not the same movie though. This is purely.
Then Commando was released in 85.
Whoa,
I don't want it to mar your score. I know. I'm just saying.
Because we were going to go there. Action movies from 1985. I took a bunch of screenshots. We're going to go through them. See, the stuff as well that I wouldn't put in the same category here, and I'm going to cut some out already, because the first part of the 3 screenshots I took, we have Legend, Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, we have Rambo, first part 2, Return to Oz, The Goonies, Red Sonja, The Jewel of the Nile, fucking King Solomon's Mines is in this, which is a canon movie that was like, okay, we're going to have to do that at some point. Last Track. There's a lot of movies that the only one that I didn't mention that is in this list, the first screenshot that I put in this category, is A View to Kill. A View to a Kill. Because every other movie in this list does not belong to the genre. True. Absolutely not. Young Sherlock Holmes, whatever. Second screenshot. In the second screenshot, I've got Witness, which is more drama, right? Then we have Ran, not this. Police Story, okay, close. Police Story is close. But then Silverado, Rocky IV, Pale Rider, which, by the way, another thing, funnily enough, you're right. I mean, Eastwood may have turned this down, not because of the robot, because he was doing Pale Rider. He may have been busy with something else.
Yeah.
That's why he said no to it. Maybe.
Have you mentioned so far, though, To Live and Die in L.A.?
We got that. We got Princess Honor. But there's a lot of...
It's a very hard year to talk about cinema in terms of every genre had amazing films. And
Back
this is an amazing...
this year as well. I mean, 82 to 85, mate. That's...
Yeah, exactly.
Never happen again. Will never happen again. 82 to 87. 82 to 87.
Yeah.
It will never happen again. It will never happen again for the same reasons we mentioned earlier, by the way. The fact that there's a lot of stuff like this that you cannot do anymore. You just can't.
Yeah, and even looking at the horror stuff, I mean, a lot of it was like comedy horror, but things like Fright Night was released that year.
Yeah,
Teen Wolf.
Absolutely.
Return of the Living Dead.
Yes.
You know,
Lost Boys
lots
in
of-
Ellis Island. There's a lot of stuff, man. It's
But anyway, my
golden
point
age.
is that it's a very hard. So of course, there is fun and love in this film. This film is full of love, but it's a very hard one to score, because I can imagine if I was going to the cinema in 1985, which I wasn't because I was a baby. I'm afraid I was a tiny boy. I would be so hard to press by the end of the year how many great films I would have seen. I would have been like, oh, that was great, and I can't wait for the sequel for that, and that was amazing, and that was awesome, and there were so many good films during that year.
True. Now, we are getting close to ratings time.
I was ready to come in here and say I'll never watch this film ever again, so I was going to score it below a 5. But through our conversations, there are a few things that have stuck in my brain. One of the big things that has stuck in my brain is the sheer pyrotechnics and the sheer love of explosions in this film. One thing that we didn't really discuss is that after the scene where after the big car chase, there's a huge, massive explosion in an underpass between two bridges, and the flames are just shooting out of the underpass. It's so beautiful. And even though we've been taking the mick out of the Prowler's first kill is this massive, huge explosion, and the guy just goes flying, like really. His body. I thought he just disintegrated. His body like disappears in one shot, but his body goes flying into the river. It's so good. And that's what this film essentially is. There's a lot of misbeats about this film. One of the scenes that I didn't like was the fakeness, and I'm a WWE fan, I'm a wrestling fan, the fakeness of the guy having his face shoved into cocaine. It was just a little too stagey, or the camera wasn't in the right place to get that good angle to make it look real. But at the same time, after that scene, that guy comes down the stairs covered in like talcum powder white to prove how much cocaine he had all over his face. So yeah, there's a lot of scenes in this that are actually quite enjoyable. So I've given it a 5.7. A 5.7 what? Let's say a 5.7 absent fathers.
Oh, wow. That's heavy. It's a 6. It's a 6, and, I think that's high praise, because I couldn't see myself rating a movie of this kind as a 6, and that's why it's a 6. So that's high praise indeed, I think. But I don't know. I'm glad it was recommended, because I may have seen this, and again, it's like as an empty vessel. You know what I mean? Like as a passenger, maybe. I don't have a recollection of this movie whatsoever. But somehow it feels like I've seen it. And it's not because there's a sense of recognition. I just didn't absorb it as an adult. And I think absorbing this as an adult, because this movie somehow, it's also not made for a teenage audience. I don't think it is. I think this is made for, I think the demographic for this movie was definitely a 40 to 60, for sure. And predominantly a male audience, for sure. Even the entire idea of, there's a bar full of retired cops in this. You know what I mean? And I think I think I just worked out what that sequence is there for. It's there for that. It's like the guys at the bar. That's what that is, at the sports bar. Possibly a retired policeman as well. So that 20 million that this movie took in, that's the audience. You know what I mean? Yeah. A few of those guys, watch the scene where fucking planting of the gun going, hey, we did that. Tell me, you remember that? Like, that's the audience, for sure. For sure. But it's a 6, and we're here today as well to celebrate Chuck's passing. I felt dirty, you know, the moment like the idea passed through my head of not even contemplating not doing this. Like, what are you talking? Like, we have to celebrate his passing. You know, such an iconic figure, not just because it's part of our childhood, but because someone managed to leave a mark, and he operated within this weird space, this weird like text, it's this weird fusion that other people have tried to emulate, not as successfully, because you just can't do it. You know, there's no other person that passed, and somehow social media took to their keyboards, and again people felt that they had to make that last joke, and yet again it wasn't punching down, because you can't punch Chuck Norris in any way, shape, or form. It wasn't kicking down; it was kicking up. You know what I mean? So he had to be celebrated. And obviously, Sir Dave is not here with us today, but he sent me his score. And his score is, Sir David George Smith rated this a 6.5 dives of an elevated train.
Yeah.
And Steve sent me his rating as a 5. And he alluded that he's going to record a clip on my phone for you, which I will never edit in. It's just not going to happen. You hear me, fucking Steve? You hear me? No! Unbelievable, mate.
Did he say 5 watts?
Oh,
yet?
dude, no, he didn't. You better send him another message, and that's it. It's a 5 from Steve. So it's a 6, and it's more than anything is celebrated. It's, you know, sometimes we go, oh, I wish this movie could have done this, or I wish. No, the only thing that I wish this movie could have done is to stick the landing, like the third act. But it's, how do you even do that? Like it's impossible. It's impossible. This is like a seaplane landing in the river going through Chicago and killing a guy while doing so. Like we didn't talk about the sequence in the art gallery.
No.
We didn't talk, in which you have, you know, the daughter of the mobster who's being tailed by the mob, and she misunderstands the tailing as an attempt from a family friend to look after her. It's not that at all. They're being ordered to go after her. But at the same time, the moment she gets approached by a cop, he looks like a cop so through and through. It's ridiculous. He couldn't have dressed to look any more like a cop, right? So it's a 6. It's a 6 painting crews. You know, the guys that are painting the apartments.
Yeah.
That's fucking just. Yeah. Which, by the way, that's a good set piece. That was a very good set piece. Like, even like on paper, the storyboard. It's very much on film, like it would be on a storyboard.
It felt like a Dirty Harry scene. That intro was very Dirty Harry.
It did. Actually, no, it's not that. It is a 6 Rubik's Cubes. That's what this is.
Oh, nice.
Yes, because that's actually a cool device to give to. It's a shame that they didn't. I actually looked online. I thought, I wish we got more movies with Eddie Cusack, and I wonder why that hasn't happened. Because this calls for, it calls for a sequel. I also don't know if you realize that from a visual standpoint, the last sequence of this movie, when they walk away from this, what is the docks? I think they're in the docks. Mm. There's a formation. There's the cops behind him are shaped like a delta, an upside down delta. It's the Delta Force. Like, I don't know if it was calling for that or whatever it is, but it is a delta. Like, if you see it, it's exactly that. So it is a 6. It's a 6 Rubik's Cube. And on that note, this was Umba.
And this is Ricky.
In the eyes of a ranger, the unsuspected stranger had better know the truth of wrong from right. 'Cause the eyes of a ranger are upon you. Any wrong you do, he's gonna see. When you're in Texas, look behind you. 'Cause that's where the ranger's gonna be. If you see him coming round, the outskirts of town. Don't you ever take him for a ride. 'Cause in the eyes of a ranger, the unsuspected stranger had better know the truth, wrong from right. 'Cause the eyes of the ranger are upon you. Any wrong you do, he's gonna see. When you're in Texas, look behind you. 'Cause that's where the ranger's gonna be. In the eyes of a ranger, the unsuspected stranger had better know the truth, wrong from right. If you see him coming round the outskirts of town, don't you ever take him for a ride. 'Cause the eyes of the ranger are upon you. Any wrong you do, he's gonna see. When you're in Texas, look behind you. 'Cause that's where the ranger's gonna be.